Hi YouTube, this is Crystal and I'm off to Shambhala here on YouTube, and it is 4 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. It is, what is it, October 19th, and I am feeling very alone. Like, I've been listening to Nicole State, uh, and she's been talking about how she has an assistant now. And I had an assistant over a year ago, and she just didn't quite work out for me. I couldn't quite get her trained. It was kind of challenging, but I didn't have her coming every day. I had her coming like once or twice a week. And look, coffee. Look at my cool cup. Picked these up. I got two of these. I picked one up at a Goodwill and then another one at a totally different Goodwill across town, exactly like it. So I have a matching pair. Anyways, 4 a.m. Gotta have the coffee. So I had a hard time getting my assistant to sort of work independently. She was very young and really just right out of high school. And again, I didn't have her coming every day. I think had I had her coming every day, or maybe, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or, 3 days in a row kind of a thing. But it was challenging for her because she was in like a medical assistant program where she was working during the week all day, or not working, but at her program like Monday through Friday. And then she just kind of acted like a kid a lot, was like always messing around and talking, texting on the phone, and I loved her to death, but, so it was, and the other thing that I was doing as opposed to what Nicole was doing, and I just sent her a message on YouTube. I know she likes to get messages on Instagram, so I don't know if she'll respond. I need to get over on Instagram. I just don't use Instagram, and I need to get over there. But I don't understand how she can have her assistant post a bunch of listings, or at least get the drafts started, and then apparently Nicole comes in and finishes the title and then puts the price in. And then she can double check her work and stuff. So I'm assuming that she's double checking her assistant's work when she goes in to do that. That light is super bright. So, because eBay now with the new listing tool, they only let you, in the regular listing area, you can only save 7 drafts. And then in the bulk, you can save up to 20, which is how it used to be before. And then I had tried looking at Turbo Lister, but I didn't like Turbo Lister because it limited you on your shipping choices, if I remember correctly. I just didn't feel like, I'm like, it's just, I can't do it that way, like I don't like the limitations. And people talk about that too, like when you use the eBay app to list, you're limited actually. And I also find it's a lot faster just to list straight into eBay. And when you're working alone, it just, you just sort of dive into it, because that's kind of the way I approach it. I mean, I have a system, but for the most part, it's just, I know it needs to be done, I get it done. And, but when you're working with somebody else, you have to sort of have a system in place for cross-referencing or whatever. But I really like what Nicole has done, having her assistant do a basic description in the title, and then she comes in and does the SEO basically. And then I mean, that's the way I look at it. And the title is really a search engine optimization field. And then also she has her assistant go in and put all of the specifics in. And I also, when I had my assistant, I also had templates, and I think you should, that's a really good idea too. In fact, that's what Nicole said she was doing, and certainly I would recreate some templates if I hire another assistant, which I've been wanting to do for a long time myself. And so, but what I was doing is I had a spreadsheet where when I would bring new things in after sourcing, I would create the finished title the way I wanted it in a spreadsheet, and then my assistant was supposed to copy that into a fresh listing. But I think the problem with that is then she had to sort of decipher which thing belonged where. I think if I was going to do that again and have the title all ready to go in a spreadsheet for her to grab and copy and paste into an actual eBay listing, then I would have to have it organized in some way, like have a numbering system, like maybe not use post-it notes because they don't stick very well, but I have like some other like stickers that I could, you know, this is number 1, this is number 2, and then she could go down the line, and then it would be easier for her to match up each clothing item or whatever the item is. When I had my assistant, that was another problem, that, you know, I had too many random items. I didn't and I knew at the time that I wanted it to be more like, okay, I want to have like 20 shirts or 20 pants or 20 skirts or 20 coffee makers, which is almost impossible. I love listing coffee makers. I haven't found any coffee makers in a long time. I used to do really good with coffee makers and coffee maker parts, but I just haven't, for many, many reasons, I haven't been sourcing a lot. I've had a lot of backlog of things, and then I did this big, huge load of Matilda Jane stuff on consignment that kept me really busy on top of my big load of stuff. So I've just been doing like maybe once a week, if that. I might buy like $15 of something here or there, and I did some retail arb stuff, which I'm just not sure about that whole retail arb thing. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is great, and then other times I'm like, it's too much money to sink into this stuff. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. So back to having the assistant. So that's how I did it, and I think I might still do it that way because I keep an inventory, and I like to, when things sell, I like to go in and punch in all the numbers so I know what my profit was on each item. Now, when I go to the bins, or if I just get a big huge load of like a lot of clothing specifically at a Goodwill or a Savers or wherever, I'll just be like, okay, I got 50 things and the total came out to $100, so it's $2 a pop. And so I'll just put $2 for each thing, even though I might have bought a few things for $5 and a couple things for $1.50 or whatever. And my Goodwill does not do, our Goodwills in my area does not do dollar days on Thursdays anymore, like a lot of Goodwills, and like we used to, which was really awesome. They do $1.50 Thursdays. So yeah, I'm actually going to be getting more into the bins here soon because I always do good there. I need to really just stock up my store with bin stuff for a while. And but then at the same time, I find some really good stuff at Savers. I found, oh my gosh, I got to get over to Savers. And I haven't been sourcing. I'm itching to source. Today, I'm going to be finishing up, come hell or high water, my last of my death piles. And then I have a few things that need attention before I can list them. Like I have like a big box of silver plated things that I need to de-tarnish. And I don't know how well I'm going to do with them. But I've sold silver plated things before, and people seem to really like those. So even if, and all of it, the silver stuff that I have was like stuff that was given to me. So it's like I don't want to just pass it on. I just feel like if I just took, whatever it takes me, an hour total of actual attention to put it in that soak stuff, that solution, and whatever it takes to get it cleaned up, I figure it's worth it. Whatever, an hour. I'm just assuming it's going to be about an hour's worth of time. And then, it's probably maybe $100 worth of silver platter things that are actually pretty groovy looking. If they were all shiny, I bet I could get $100 for them. So total, maybe a little less. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd have to really look at them more closely. But and then I also have like 3 more Matilda Jane dresses that need some buttons fixed on them. And I just need to sit down and do that. So if I can get everything listed and all that, and that at least all that done, and then maybe wrap those up in the morning if I don't list those today. But I really even want to get all those, but I will accept not doing those things that need the extra attention before listing. But I really want to get those listed because the silver with the holidays coming up, I think, there's a good chance that they'll sell. And the Matilda Jane, it's the last of my Matilda Jane stuff. And I love Matilda Jane. I'll tell you what, I don't know what it takes. I think it takes like an actual investment of money to become a Matilda Jane. Like not just like $1,000. Like it might even be more than $1,000. I don't know. Because I've heard of some other companies, and somebody was telling me it's like $5,000 or $10,000 to invest in like a company that's like Matilda Jane, but it's not Matilda Jane. I don't know what the deal is. I looked up the Matilda Jane website, and it doesn't really say anything, but they're picky. It's not like an MLM. They kind of operate like an MLM in that you do home parties and stuff, like Pampered Chef, but it's not like you're pushing everybody to get into selling this stuff, because you have to be, it's just, they vet people basically. It's not that easy, and the stuff sells, which is why people want to do it. Like it's not like a lot of the other MLMs where you have to like push everybody into it. Like, oh my God. I had a Melaleuca account, which I really liked a lot of their products. And there's 2 products that I'll pay. I'm no longer a Melaleuca official customer. And when I joined them, I wasn't really necessarily planning on turning that into a money-making thing, but I used to run like networking groups, and like these Melaleuca people would just and a lot of those MLM people, it's like, oh my God, like they're just coming out of the woodworks everywhere. Like, yeah, you and like everybody else has Melaleuca, and then half the people in the room already have Melaleuca accounts, or know about it and don't want it, or had it and don't want it, whatever, and I know so many people that got into Melaleuca and then they got out, so many of those MLM things. So Matilda Jane's not like that, but I gotta tell you, if I was gonna look into getting into some other kind of business, I love Matilda Jane, and you know, and then I would have a reason to like get myself all dolled up. Like I don't have a reason to get dolled. Like I should be doing something to make myself look better for these videos, but I'm just not. I just don't. I find, I don't know. It just seems like a waste of time, but I don't know. I think if I made myself more presentable, I think I might get more watchers on YouTube, just bottom line. But also, you know, I think also my content is not like anything spectacular, which is fine. It is what it is. I just am who I am. And also, you know, I think the quality of the video itself, like as far as I'm using like a tablet and it doesn't pick up the voice very well, and my videos are real quiet. So I think people don't really want to listen to I need to get better equipment. You know, like everything in my life could be better. But okay, I'm going like way off track. So I really didn't have any kind of plan. Usually I have like something organized for this, for my rambling, so it's not so rambly. But anyways, so you know, having an assistant is tricky, and Nicole talks about how it's like an investment in time, and in the beginning you spend a lot of time getting them, you know, the learning process is an investment in time and money. So you know, it just, I think if I were to, and I have been asking around, I have been telling people that are like looking for ways to earn extra money. I'm like, well, you can work for me, and they don't freaking call. I mean, maybe it's just whatever. They're just not interested. What, you know, it's just the way it is. And I think there's a lot of people, like, they just don't realize like that this is like a valid business. Like they feel like it's I don't know, it's like they feel like they have to, if they're not working at like a Target or a gas station or a grocery store or a hospital or some office, that it's not really like a job. I know. But they don't, you know, I don't know. They're just, but they complain that they're making, you know, $8 an hour after taxes, and they get treated like shit and and I'm like, come work for me, you'll love it, we can have fun and it'll be fun. Like I'm like a nice boss, and I am, but I've learned a lot about how to be a boss, and I am looking forward to applying the wisdom that others have passed on to me through my management courses and things about how to be with an employee. And that's another thing. I love Nicole because I have the same attitude as her. Like, I want my employees to like be happy. Like, and I don't want them to be like, you know, like what the hell am I doing this for? Like, it's just like slavery, you know. And it is, and I wouldn't want to work for that. So one of my ideas, and I would love some feedback on this, and Nicole had talked about doing this too. She wants to provide some kind of an incentive. Well, my idea for an incentive is whenever anything sells, I will give them $1. Anything sells that they listed. Once they get to a point where they can do it 100% on their own. So, you know, I can be like, here's a load of blouses, list them, and they can sit there and get 50 of them done. Oh God, that sounds so great. And then I can pay them like a minimum hourly rate, and then whenever anything sells out of that batch, then I will give them $1 for each one of those things at the end of the month. And I would even go for, as long as they keep working for me, they can, you know, if I decide that we're going to keep the thing in the store for 2 years, which I am all about doing, because most things will sell within a couple years. And I just feel like, you know, like you've gone through, especially with clothing, like there's no reason, I feel like there's really no reason to try to like rush it through. Like, just everything just eventually sells. Like, it's just crazy. Every time there's been a couple times where I've taken something out of the store and I'm like, oh, this will never sell. And it wasn't even like the thing took up a lot of space. And I was just like, oh, this isn't going anywhere. For whatever reason, I just got rid of it. And I forgot to unlist it. 2 things that I've gotten rid of. And then like within like days of me getting rid of them and I forgetting to take the listing off, the things sell. And I lost, what did I lose? 20, 30. I lost about $30 between 2 items. I'm like, you're kidding. I can't believe I did that. Oh well. So yeah, I try to keep a good balance of things that I'm flipping quickly and then things that are long tail. Or they're not even really long tail in that I purchase them and yeah, eventually somebody's going to give me $60 for this thing, but you know, it's not going to happen overnight most likely. It's more like, you know, a $10 shirt, or maybe I'll get 20 or 25 for it, and maybe it would have sold really fast at like 12 or 15, but I'm holding out for that 25. I've got a few clothing items like that, and yeah, and they will sell eventually. I've had quite a few things where I'm like, yeah, you know, I bet if I listed this for $15 it would go right away. But I'm like, nope, I'm gonna hold out, and I got it. So I'm glad I held out for like that 25 or 35 or whatever. So yeah, so I guess that's my idea for doing a bonus, is just give them $1. So even if it's something that sold for 35 or it's sold for 12, it doesn't matter. They just get $1. Now, theoretically, you know, I've gotten a lot better at picking, and when a lot of my items are selling for $15 to $35 as far as my clothing items, I have more and more of those kind of items, and I'm able to find those more. And for whatever reason, I've had a few repeat customers. I've got, and that really makes a big difference. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I should make a note in another video. Getting repeat customers. Who's Rockstar Flipper? I like that dude. I think he was talking about repeat customers, and that it's very possible and worthwhile, especially with clothing. I think when people are buying clothing, it's like they like to go back to some of the same sellers if they've had positive experiences. You know, like if somebody's having a problem with the clothing item, they don't want to go, you know, then it's like, oh, what's this seller going to be like? You know, and I had to start a return on something that I got. It just didn't work when I got it. It was a scale. I tried everything to get the freaking thing to work. I could not get it to work. And it wasn't packaged very well. So, I mean, there was no space between the box and the thing, and no padding or anything. And so, I mean, it just probably got busted during whatever. It got shaken around. I don't know. It wasn't like it was like cracked, broken, but just, you know, you're supposed to have space between stuff. And I understand a lot of stuff makes it fine. And I've seen a lot of companies ship stuff out without any space between their items. And these people probably have like mass massive amounts of these items. So probably 99% of the items make it, and then the one or two out of the whatever 98, 99, the 1 out of 100 that doesn't make it, the people say, hey, my thing doesn't work, and they'll be like, we'll just ship you another one. You know what I mean? But they're saving so much money on shipping by not having all those extra materials and the extra size and the extra weight, that it's worth it to lose a few items. But I cannot afford to do that. And it's a pain in the ass for me. Like, I need this thing, I need the scale. And now, it's like, and then I'm like, then I gotta go order another one, and I don't want to have the same problem again. And I did order a super cheap one. I'm like, let's go cheap-a-rama, because last time I ordered middle of the row, and I was perfectly fine, but I needed a second scale, and I'm like, let's just try a cheap-a-rama one. And so that probably had something to do with it too, because it was super cheap-a-rama. Oh my gosh, I feel like I was going somewhere with this whole conversation. Okay, I did have a note. No, that's not it. No. No. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff that I wanted to work on for my next show, but I didn't really get anything together. I've got some tech stuff I want to talk about. I had a bunch of ideas, and I usually have notes sitting out right here. I must have gotten rid of them. Huh. Well, it was 4 a.m. I'm like, okay, I need to do my video for the week and get to work, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time prepping. And so that's probably why this isn't going to be one of the better videos. But yeah, so I just, back to the whole assistant thing. I've been leery about getting somebody in because I just didn't have a good experience, and I just can't afford. I feel like I can't afford to F around with somebody for a while and not get results. Like, I need to have, I feel like before I do that, I need to be at an income level like where Nicole is, and right now I'm floating around 2,500, best case scenario 2,900. I think I got close to, no, I didn't even hit 29, but I gotten close, and that was real exciting, to 29,000 for a 30-day period. And I feel like before I justify hiring somebody, I need to be doing, I need to be doing like be able to do $3,500 or more consistently on my own alone. And or I need to have a couple $1,000s in working capital so that I can keep buying stuff so that the person has stuff to list, because that was another problem. That's what Nicole was saying. She's like, I have to keep going out. Yeah, like, you need to have stuff ready to go for them. That was another thing. Like, I'd be like, okay, well, I only have this, and it's kind of unorganized, like, or, I could never get like the 20 shirts or whatever, like, to try to make it efficient for my person to list. And she just wasn't ready to just be randomly doing things and organizing everything. It's like, you still need to do a lot of prep work, groundwork, especially in the beginning. So it's like, I need to make sure that I have stuff, and that it needs to be organized and ready to go for them to a certain degree. What else? And then I just want to be able to pay them until they're paying for themselves, for at least 2 or 3 weeks, which I think after 2 or 3 weeks, if they're capable, that they would pay for themselves, start paying for themselves, because the stuff that they list would start selling through enough of it. But still, really, the big thing depends on me picking the right things. And I'm pretty good at picking, kind of. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, why the hell did I buy this? What the hell? And then it sells, and I'm like, okay, I know why I bought it. But what happens actually a lot, especially with the clothing, is I still miss a lot of flaws. Like, I bought this really cute White House black market sweater. I'm missing a button. And you know what? I probably still would have bought it, because everything White House black market sells. It just sells. So that's why I bought it. But it was still like maybe it was at a mom and pop thrift shop. Like, I probably could have said, it's missing a button. Can I get it $1 off? You know, I bought it for $2. Like, I could have got it for $1. And then I found a cabbie skirt. And I've only had one other cabbie thing. And it's a clothing brand, if you're not familiar. And it's sort of like White House Black Market. It's a pretty good seller. People look for it. You're not going to make big money. Maybe there might be certain cabbie items that are better money than others, but a lot of it is like sort of average Joe prices. But people are looking for it. It sells. And I found this really cute cabbie skirt. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I go to look it up. There's like a freaking 100 of the same exact skirt listed. I'm like, you're kidding me. So I priced it really cheap, and it sold right away, actually, because I'm like, I'm not gonna wait for them to sell out. I just want to get my $2 back. I haven't had good luck with cabbie. Like I said, I've only had 2 things, and the first thing I had, I didn't know about cabbie, and it was this really cute sheer tunicky thing. It was really cute, and it took forever to sell. And I finally, like, I had it, and I noticed that the prices were kind of up there. They weren't like super expensive, like when I first discovered it, this one cabbie item. Like, some of the prices were kind of up there, or you know, you could get $15 for a lot of this stuff. And so I had it kind of up there for a long time, and then it just wasn't going anywhere, and I finally just put it down at like $10.99 or something, and it still took a long time to sell at $10.99. And I don't remember what I put it at, but I had to bring the price down, and it finally sold. But it took a long time. But you know what? To tell you the truth, I wish I'd have just left that higher price on. And that particular cabbie shirt, that first one I had, it was unique. Like, you didn't see a lot of them like that. Like that skirt, where there's like 100 of the exact same skirt available. It was a cute skirt, though. I can't remember what it was called. It actually had a name. Like Matilda Jane stuff, it all has names. Everything, and the buyers know the names. In fact, okay, that's going to be one of my tips, and I know I've talked about it on another video, but I'm bringing it up again because you need to know, if you come across Matilda Jane, if it's got a hole in it, buy it. Like, just get it. It will sell. And you know what? Maybe that thing with the hole in it is, you're only going to sell it for $15. But I sold a pair of pants, Matilda Jane pants, for $20-something with a big gaping hole in it. It was actually in really good shape. Like, maybe had it been like totally worn out and like trashed, you know, probably, you know, I would have been like 99 cents bidding or something. And people probably would have bid on it anyways. I mean, that's how it's, Matilda Jane is amazing. The people that buy Matilda Jane love Matilda Jane, and they just want the Matilda Jane item. They just want it. I have never had anybody return anything. And I had one person say, these look like they're more worn out. They look like they're worn, and you said they were new. I go, yeah, I could have, well, you know, and I told her, like, I got these from a trunk keeper, and she had identified that stuff was new, but maybe she made a mistake on this one, and I'm so sorry. And I gave her like a $5 refund, partial refund, and she was like, and I still want to keep it, but I just wanted you to know. She didn't even ask for the refund. She was like, I just want it, yeah, and you know, and she was really nice. They're all nice too. I love the Matilda Jane customers. Everybody is so nice. Just God, that's why I said, like, if I was, you know, maybe like a stay-at-home mom looking for some little side thing to do, and I had a little girl or something, and I needed a good mom thing. It's just, what a great company, and their stuff is cute and really good quality. I am so impressed with. I have listed probably, I don't know, 300 Matilda Jane things since last March. And just amazing stuff. Amazing. Yeah. So there's a website that if you come across a Matilda Jane item, what you want to do is you want to identify it as with its item name. And you can find out what it's called. Certainly you can look up comps on eBay, is usually like a quick way to do it. But I also would cross-reference. I would go back and forth between like what people in eBay are calling it, and then sometimes I couldn't find it, and then I'd go over to Matilda Jane Lookbook. I think it's called mjlookbook.com. I'll have a link below. And let me look it up. mjlookbook.com, I think is what it's, or it's lookbooks. MJ Lookbooks. I misspelled it, so it took me in the wrong place. Yeah, MJ Lookbooks. So you go on there, and then up at the top it'll say like MJC lines. And a lot of times the tag will say serendipity, or it'll say paint by numbers, or something. Happy and free. There is this really cute thing from Happy and Free I want to get. It seems like it got darker in here. Oh, I know, because Anyway, so if you know, and sometimes you won't know, sometimes the tag doesn't say what the collection is, but a lot of times it will. Like almost all paint by numbers are marked paint by numbers, but I don't remember. It seems like there was a lot of them that throws you off. If you know the collection, it makes it a little easier to find your item. And then you just go in there, and then they're all like, there's a Calypso dress. Oh, they took off the prices. Oh. They used to have the original prices on here, but they came in and took off all the original prices. Oh my goodness. That was so handy. Let's see. Let me go back to Good Heart collection. See, Good Heart collection still shows, but for some reason the paint by number, I remember the paint by number having the prices, but I don't know, maybe they just didn't include them on that one. So hopefully they're not going through, you know, and just slowly but surely taking off all of the original retail prices. But that was kind of nice too, because that's what I would say in my listings, and I don't care what anybody says. I think it makes a difference. This was originally $68. You know, I've seen other successful clothing sellers that I follow on eBay. Well, there's this one in particular, and she always puts originally $68, but mine is $34, you know, and she freaking sells that shit all day long. She's got a good following, this one gal that I follow on eBay, and I love the style of her clothing. Like, And then I found another gal that sells similar style of clothing too and does almost the same exact thing. I'm like, where do these girls get these clothing items? Like, they're so nice. The stuff that they have, and they're all new. I don't know how they're sourcing. Well, one of the gals lives in Southern California, so I would imagine that she's probably going to the fashion district, or maybe they have clothing stores. And so in addition to their actual clothing store, they have an eBay store, and they just have access to all of these clothes. So they're probably buying like a lot of 12 of these really cute sweaters. And so they'll have 6 of them in the store, and then they'll list 3 of them on eBay or something. You know, the small, the medium, the large, or like medium, large, extra large on eBay, and then the others, the remainder they sell in their actual store. That's what I would do. And that's how they're getting, I would imagine. I mean, I'm just totally guessing. I really have no idea. And I just don't know how they're getting these cute clothes, because they always have like 3 of the same item in different sizes. And I've tried to source wholesale clothing, like cute stuff, and all I find is like these wholesale sources with like a bunch of crap. And then like there's like 1 or 2 cute things, but then everybody else and their mother is already selling that same thing on eBay. And actually I've seen them try to sell, I'm like, that looks like eBay. I don't know where they're getting their stuff. I mean, and it's just really, I need to get, I really need to update everything I'm doing, my tech. You know, if you haven't watched my other videos, you know I'm very tech challenged. Like, stuff breaks on me all the time. Like, I used to do screen sharing videos, but I need to sign up for that on my new computer, but I also don't have headphones to do, or whatever, a microphone. I need to get a microphone. It's like, it's like you could nickel and dime yourself going crazy. Oh my gosh, this little girl is so cute. Oh my gosh. She looks like my granddaughter. Okay. So check out MJC Lookbooks, just so that you know where to go if you find any Matilda Jane items. And the other thing is if you do find a Matilda Jane item, and maybe you go and you find it on eBay, just cross-reference it. Like if somebody's saying this is from the Paint by Numbers collection, and this is the knot dress, the strawberry knot dress, or whatever it might be called, then just go and just double check it. And then also you can find out if they've got the original price still listed on that website, then you can also include that. And I usually would put that at the end of my title. And you don't even really have to worry too much about extra info in your title, like it has pink strawberries on it, or pink, blue, and purple, or whatever. Like, you just put in for Matilda Jane, it's more about the size and the actual title of the thing. But if there's room, I'll be like, with accessories like headbands, I'll say goes with or matches, or just I'll include some other item that I know it goes with. Like, so if somebody's looking for, they can't remember the name of the headband, but they know it looks like the Waterway pants, or there's a Waterway something or other. I can't remember if it's pants or top, but there's this one thing called Waterway, and the headband is not called Waterway, but it uses the same pattern of fabric, so I included that in my title, so that if somebody was looking for the Waterway top or pants or whatever it was, then this headband would come up, even though the headband itself was not called Waterway. And it could have been from a totally different collection, because a lot of their collections, like if it was like the fall collection from 2015, then the spring collection of 2016, they might have some of the same fabrics carried over into the next batch or collection. And I think some stuff, like, they keep making it too. Like, it's not like they stopped making it. So, like, you could still order. I think you can still order some stuff from previous years directly from Matilda Jane, certain things. But I'm not sure. I really need to check on that. But yeah, it's amazing. I just love the Matilda Jane, and I was like, Nicole, the trunk keeper, she called me like a month ago. She's like, I got more stuff for you. I'm like, is it more Matilda Jane? Like, and there was a little bit more Matilda Jane, but she gave me some other boutique dresses, and then other kids' clothing that sells really good. American Girl, like, I think they're like the doll dresses, like they match. I can't remember. They're like, I think there's a name for it. But she gave me some American Girl dresses, sold right away. If you ever come across an American Girl dress, freaking pick it up. And then there's this other dress that I've got a grip ton of watchers on. I just listed it a couple weeks ago, and it's got like 10 watchers within a couple weeks, which is kind of, and I got it at a high price. I think it's a high price. Let me go into my store. I had just cleaned my cache right before I got started with this, so I don't have eBay up. Okay. This is another, I don't know if this brand is popular or if this dress is just popular. But yeah, Nicole is just, she's like really up on all like the boutique-y, designery, what's worth money in children's clothing. So I am so grateful to have been able to learn about this stuff from her, by her giving me all this stuff. Even though she is my son's stepmother and she gets to lead a life of leisure. And I don't, but that's okay. She's willing to put up with my ex, so she gets to live the life of leisure. I could have stayed with him too. I could have put up with him. I could have done his bidding and been like, okay, whatever you say. Just give me money. Okay, okay, where am I going? Oh, I know. Okay, give me a minute here, guys. I am so sorry. I should have had this ready to go. But yeah, it's just amazing that there are children's clothing that is like high end that people will pay for. Hold on. Matilda Jane is one of them. I just sold a dress for like $86. I really need to get my screen sharing system going because I really want to share some of this. Okay, it's called Eleanor Rose, and it's the Silent Night Adeline dress. And I've got it on sale right now for $55.37. I think she had said try to get like at least $60 for it, and then I put it up kind of high, and then I put it up like at an aggressive sale for the week. And I'm surprised it hasn't gone yet, but it's gonna go. And I had like a grip ton of watchers on that other Matilda Jane dress that I told you that I just sold for like $86, and just all of a sudden some gal came along and bought like 4 Matilda Jane things for me all at once, and as soon as she got them, she sent me positive messages. God love her. I love Matilda Jane, people. Okay, yeah, and almost all my Matilda Jane has like multiple watchers. Just, God, love this stuff. Just love it. Okay, I gotta stop looking. And it's so cute. Let me see, Eleanor Rose. Let me look up that brand again. I know I had looked this company up or something when she first gave me this dress and said, this is how much I want for it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's these Christmas dresses. And they look like 70s ugly Christmas sweater dresses. Like, yeah, there's a, Eleanor Rose is cute. But it's not Matilda Jane. It's cute like Matilda Jane, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on here at high prices. So Eleanor Rose, I think they're another boutique kind of brand. Let's see, that is really adorable. Here's something that sold for $35. It's just adorable. So a little teeny top that sold for $27.50. $30 for a little dress. $30, $27, $35. This is kids clothing, y'all. And it is cute. It's very much like Matilda Jane. That's why she knows about it. Let me go to the highest. I'm looking at solds, by the way. Oh my gosh, that Silent Night dress that I was telling you about. One just sold on October 7th for $88 with 18 bids. Unbelievable. I need to raise my price on that thing. I can't believe mine hasn't sold yet. I've heard of that happening where people had it up, like Craigslist Hunter was talking about that, where he had something up at like, you know, $60 and it was sitting there forever and people were watching it and nobody would buy it, and then he puts it on auction starting at like some low price, and then he ends up selling it for $130 when somebody could have just picked it up for $60. What the heck? It's just odd. Here's another one, the same exact dress sold for $86. I gotta raise the price on that. These Christmas dresses, the Eleanor Rose Christmas dresses, they're all selling $75, $70, $74, $69. So look up Eleanor Rose. Oh, unbelievable. $60. Yeah. Eleanor Rose. Let me go to the website again. Yeah, I don't think this is like a company like Matilda Jane. I think it's just, I don't know that much about them. But they have collections like Pumpkin Patch Tales, Costume Carousel, Friends of the Forest, Hark the Herald. Oh, that is adorbs. Okay, let me look up Friends of the Forest. That's got to be cute stuff. Okay, that's adorbs. It doesn't have the same presentation. Like all of their stuff is just sort of like laying flat in the pictures. Like they don't have models like Matilda Jane does. I mean, they do have some models. And the stuff is very much like Matilda Jane. Cute as can be. This is adorbs. And a lot of their stuff is sold out. But I don't think that they do parties. This Eleanor Rose company. They don't do like parties like Matilda Jane. They might have been like one of those brands that started on eBay or Etsy. I think Matilda Jane started on Etsy, or they would go to like art fairs and whatever events, art fairs. And I knew some girls that were like into that back when I was doing another business and I was always going to events and stuff, and they're like, this is how I make my living, and they make like cute little girls clothes and they sell them online and they go to these events and just making cute little girl clothes. I'm like, how fun is that? But Matilda Jane is like the star of the, they're like the legendary success story. And then the other thing that's interesting about Matilda Jane is Nicole told me that she quit working for them after the gal who started the company, she passed away. And she said it just wasn't the same, so she quit. And I don't really know why it wasn't the same, but I think that the stuff is just as cute as it ever was. So at least they're keeping the designs, and I don't know what else they've changed, but I can't remember. I think she passed away. I'm gonna guess, and I did look up Matilda Jane. They don't talk about it like anywhere. I bet you could find the information if you're real curious. And since I'm talking about it, maybe I should be the one to know about it and reporting on it. But let me see. I think it was sometime around Secret Fields or It's a Wonderful, sometime around 2014 is when she passed away. Or it could have been like around 2013, but I'm just thinking that any of the items prior to Secret Fields, let's just say, are probably going to become more valuable. Because Jason T. Smith is not shy about talking about this. I've heard other resellers talking about Craigslist Hunter, Golden Finger Picker Chad. They all talk about it's just a fact of life. People die and their stuff becomes like really super valuable, right? Especially when they die. And then some things might become more valuable, like if it was pre this, then it's more valuable. Like Cherry Vintage was talking about certain Japanese items that were made, she was saying, during the occupation of Japan, that those are more valuable, or if it's prior to that time it's more valuable, or whatever. Like it just, this could happen with Matilda Jane. This is just sort of a loose prediction that anything probably prior to Secret Fields, and again, I don't know when exactly she passed away, but from what Nicole told me, it was somewhere around 2014. Could have been 2013. Maybe Paint by Numbers, Good Heart, Winter Collection, Heart, Soul, Pride, Serendipity, Homeroom, You and Me. And I didn't have any of the older collections, but you're probably right now on eBay going to find a lot of items from Serendipity up to Secret Fields, and then anything from 2015 up, you probably find that too, but those are like the newer items since the creator of the company passed away. And so I'm just thinking that, yeah, it just really definitely just, you gotta go check out MJ Lookbooks. Okay, so anyways, coming up on an hour of rambling with very little organization, talking about children's clothing and hiring an assistant. And that was my experience, and I'd still like to get an assistant, but I need to just be ready for that. So, but I too have been planning on getting an assistant and will be getting an assistant, and back on the assistant thing. And I know I've talked about this when I got my office, that was like I wanted to hire people. And so what happened is here's like the timeline of what happened when I moved into my office and all of the obstacles that I use as an excuse. But okay, when I first moved in, it was August. And the air conditioning didn't work. So the landlord gave me either a really good deal or he gave me September for free. I can't remember. Something really cheap. And it was hot as hell, and I had to move everything all by myself. And then when I got in there, the deal was that I would save $100 a month by letting them keep some of their junk in there. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just use like 2/3 of the place for an indefinite amount of time. And I was still working part-time at Costco doing demos. And so it kind of turned out that I wasn't, I really wasn't working it, and I was just sort of taking my time because it was so cheap. And also, like I said, there was no freaking air conditioning in there. So I could just, oh my God, need an air conditioner. So then what happened? I think finally by like October 1st, he got the air conditioning fixed. And I had one of those like little blower things. What do you call it? Like the air conditioner on wheels. And I didn't even have it venting out a window. I just had like cold air blowing on me, but the other end was blowing hot air out, and it barely made a difference. But luckily the actual office itself was kind of comfortable because it was like sort of like a cave. But it was still hot, and you need air conditioning, trust me. And so it was kind of hard to work. And then I didn't really have things set up very well, and I was tripping all over their shit. And I should have just told him from the beginning, get the shit out. I can't deal with this. Because then I had to rearrange again later. And so finally, I can't remember at what point I told him to get it out. I think it was probably like February. But I was still working my other job. And so I was still sort of willy-nillying it over there. That's the way I look at it. And I had gotten my numbers up, which was really cool. And I was... and I remember it was like right around mid-November is when we got really busy, and I was working a lot at Costco. And so I was hardly down there doing anything. I was just doing the bare minimums down there. So I didn't even really have a good Christmas on eBay. And I had it was horrible because I was working at Costco. Like, it was horrible. You don't want to work there at Christmas, trust me. It's not that bad as far as jobs go, but it's tiring over there. Like, I'm on my feet all day long, and I was doing demos, and like, it just is exhausting. I just remember being exhausted, physically exhausted, and my boss was a biatch. And Nicole talks about that, and I'm like, I could care less. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, it makes me really not freaking care. I mean, it's amazing, and everybody felt that way. They're like, yeah, but it's about the customers, and the people are so nice. If it wasn't for the people, the customers, that were really nice people, and just my basic work ethic. But I mean, it's like, and also I have like a sanitary thing. Like, I don't feel right, like like, I would never be one of those like food workers that's like, well, my boss is a bitch, so I'm just gonna not sanitize things or work in a sanitary way. Like, that's the other thing. Like, I would never want to eat in a restaurant where everybody hates the manager, because God knows what the hell kind of shit they're slacking on there. Anyways, So really from like August to December, I really wasn't even working that much, even though I was just trying to get the place set up and get things figured out how I wanted to set it up. And I was a little disappointed that it took me all that time because I was still spending, I think I was paying like $300 and then I went up to 400. I don't know. It was a good deal, you know, and that's why I wanted it. And I really liked having all the shit out of my house and so I was working on systems. And then, so let's see, then January, I did really great. And, but I was still working at Costco. And then finally by March, I was like, okay, I got to get serious about doing what I wanted to do with this place. And I don't remember at what point I just told my landlord, I'm like, you got to get this stuff out. I mean, I'll pay you the agreed amount of money, blah, 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 blah. Get the stuff out. I need the space. Like it's not worth it for me to pay even partial rent. I can't make what I want to make happen here, blah, blah, blah. It's my ex. So, so I, go into a little longer of an explanation with him, I guess. I'm like, look, I just can't make happen what I want to make happen here with all of your shit in here. So, they finally got almost all of their stuff out. They still couldn't even get all this stuff out. But at least I opened up the space and it was getting closer to where I wanted it. And then I told my boss sometime in March I wanted to quit, basically. I took a leave. So I just hit it full time. And that's when my numbers really started to go up. And I was getting everything set up to hire somebody. But the computer broke down, and the camera broke down, and the printer broke down. And I had to hire some guys to come in to get everything set up. And I'm like, okay, I told them what my goals were, that I wanted to hire somebody and I wanted to have a station over here for them and a station over here for me, and this is and I was getting everything set up, and I was investing a lot of money in shelving and tables so that we could have like systems and it could function, because when I first moved in I had that assistant that I was talking about earlier. And I had her come down one day, and it wasn't any better than being at home when I first moved in. It was still kind of hard to function in there. And I'm like, I just need to have it set up right to have somebody working. I want it to be like, when they come to work, they're at work, And I didn't want it to be totally crappy. But it wasn't like all high end or anything, but just I wanted it to be clean and organized and quality and functional, and it wasn't exactly stylish, but it wasn't necessarily like you walked in and you're like, oh my god, what kind of place is this? Like I wanted it to have that, this is work, we have professional, whatever. It's set up. There's infrastructure to help things function, I had my I just had it all set up. And then in the back was the door to the parking lot, and so I had this really groovy old desk that I was and that was like my drop area, where when new stuff came in I would put it there. But and that was where I still had some of the landlord stuff back there that I was kind of dealing with. I'm like, it's okay, because I need to get more shelves for back there, and I wanted to set it up as like a buying counter or desk. It was going to be a buying desk, so people could just come in that back door, and then bam, they could sit down on the other side of the desk, and we could do the buying transaction there. And I mean, I was so close. And that was, I mean, I had it all probably, I don't know, by mid-April, the end of April, I was like really close to having it all ready to roll. My numbers were up. I was like, okay, I need to get my numbers up a little bit more, and then I'm going to hire somebody, and I'm going to keep, getting this place set up the way it needs to be to hire somebody and to have customers come in. Like, I was really close. And then, so that was like just within 2 months of having told my boss that I wanted to go full time down there. Less than 2 months. And I had doubled not quite doubled, but I mean, my numbers were like, oh my God, they're going in the right direction. Yay. I was so excited. Like, this full-time stuff is working out great. And then I get a message. Then my son calls me, and it turns out that he doesn't want to be married anymore. So, of course, I'm like, oh my God, my poor granddaughter needs to come and stay with me. So I offered to have his wife come and stay with me with the baby, because I kind of had a good setup at the house. Whereas with her mother, it was kind of a crowded situation, let's just say. And I had, my master bedroom wasn't really in use because the carpeting was all trashed, and the shower and the toilet were busted, and I just wasn't using it. It was sort of like my junk room, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll get the room fixed up. She can move in with me. So I stopped everything to get the room fixed up and spent a bunch of money. And so that took me away from the business. And I rearranged half of the house. And everything just kept going wrong. Like, which I've talked about in my other videos, and I don't want to dwell on it, but the air conditioning at the house went out, blah, 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 blah. And finally, I'm like, I'm just going to move back home. But I was this close. Oh, and the other thing is right at the same time, and I probably talked about this before too, right at the same time that my son said he didn't want to be married anymore. And then, of course, he changed his mind after she moved out here. Just my crazy son. But he lost her. I don't think he's going to get her back. And I feel really bad for him, but he's got to live with the consequences of his decisions. I can't help him. Anyways, I just hope my granddaughter is okay, So yeah, that was like, it's just, everything was just, oh, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so right at the same time that my daughter-in-law and granddaughter are supposed to be moving in with me, and I have to be dealing with all this, my ex tells me that the people next door want to take over my spot, and he wants me to move upstairs, and he's going to give me a good deal on the place upstairs. And I'm like, that's fine, because most of the stuff I do, it's not that big of a deal for me to go upstairs. It's just not. Except for the fact that it's a little against what I wanted to do, and it was a complete disruption. And then the AC, just everything. It was just, I don't know. I mean, I still question, like, I listen to the Gil Daddy video all the time about making excuses. And looking back, yes, I could have worked harder. I could have found a way to, not that I wasn't persevering, not that I was ever giving up, but I could have made things happen more, like listing more, or whatever. But so that I could have made more money because my money went down, you know, like I should have just made it. I'm like, well, whatever's going on, I got to keep listing. I got to keep my numbers up. Like that's the most important thing, regardless of all the other chaos going around. But it's just whatever. I guess it's just making more excuses. But you can't. It's just a matter of fact. If you freaking have to live like a nomad and you have to constantly deal with these constant major interruptions, I mean, it's just a fact of life too. I mean, even Nicole talks about how after her husband started going in to do his internship full time, how her listing efforts have decreased. And even though he's still helping her with inventory and shipping, she's like taking on more of the household motherly activities. And it just, you know, there's just an opportunity cost for everything. And especially when you have a family. And so, yeah, and now, like, I have my son most weekends, and he stays with his dad during the week. And so my weekends with him are extremely important. And it's my time that I get cleaning done, and we do a lot of cooking and hanging out. And I, you know, have him try to, you know, pass on wisdom and teach him good habits and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, this is the good habit of the week. I'm like, this is what the habit you're going to develop this weekend. I tell him that. I'm like, oh, here's a piece of wisdom for you, honey. He's so cute. He's so receptive. God, my son is amazing. My second son. But my older son, who's the troublemaker, if you want to call him that, he's like, Mom, everybody thinks Spencer's an angel, but he's not. I'm like, you're probably right. He's not the angel. Or he goes, he's not the angel that everybody thinks he is. I'm like, you're probably right. He's just figured out how to be sneaky. And it is true, because I used to have a nanny, and my nanny told me some stuff she caught him doing. I'm like, yep, he's just much better at putting up the right act. Just unbelievable. But he is a good kid. I mean, it still takes a good kid to be able to even in a certain level of perception. And then, I watched this, and now for something completely different. And I need to watch it again because I fell asleep during the second half. But Netflix, there's a video called something about honesty and lying. And I think that this could be helpful in business, just to understand these concepts. But there's more to, I mean, again, I didn't watch the whole thing, and I've studied psychology. I mean, I'm not, you know, not extensively, but I mean, pretty deeply. And there are they did bring up some really good points, but I just think it's what they talk about in that documentary, you should really investigate further. And there's other concepts that affect people's decision making. But, you know, it basically talks about honesty and lying. And I can't remember. Oh, it had a cute, kitschy name, too. But it's on Netflix right now, and it's like a documentary about honesty. Anyways, oh my God, I was probably going to even make a point about that. I'm going to stop now. Okay, I think I had too much coffee. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I need to get to work. So you need to get to work too. Hopefully you've been working, like if you were even listening to this. Oh my goodness gracious. But yeah, look up MJC Lookbooks, and that Eleanor Rose brand. Those are some really good kids brands if you come across them. And And yeah, and I'm going to talk more about getting an assistant too. I have some other ideas of how I want to do it, but I'm really enjoying hearing about Nicole's experience. And I haven't really talked too much about my past experience because I don't feel like it was that successful. So, but there are things to consider. So, anyways, thanks for this was like a therapy session for me, so thanks. And next week, hopefully, I will have some much better quality content, more organized, more news you can use kind of content. So, all right, I hope you do good this week. Get to listing. Bye.